Vegas, Nevada. It is hot outside, approaching 100 degrees. It's going to be even hotter inside the arena as the entire week has been buzzing. It started Tuesday with the grand arrivals and the press conferences, and yesterday at the weigh-in, two fighters that have made it no secret they don't like each other. Saul Canelo Alvarez, Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, takes on Culiacan, Sinaloa, and the son of the legend, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. 12 rounds in the super middleweight division. The country is calling it their own Super Bowl, and here in Las Vegas, the crowd has been lining up early on, able to see this fight. But before we get to that, we're gonna get to some bonus coverage of some young up-and-coming prospects. We're gonna see later on 18-year-old Ryan Garcia, who people are raving about out of Southern California. He takes on rugged veteran Tyrone, Luckey from New York. The second fight tonight, we're going to have an Olympian. Marlen Esparza out of Texas takes on Samantha Salazar. Females in the flyweight division. And it's all going to get going with our first fight coming your way. A 2016 Mexican Olympian making his pro debut. Raul Curiel from Tamaulipas, Mexico takes on fellow Mexican Jesus Sanchez. Alongside the editor of RingTV.com and one of the best boxing scribes out there, Doug Fisher, I'm Beto Duran. Thank you for joining us on what is going to be a fantastic Cinco de Mayo weekend. We're at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and Doug, Raul Cougar Curiel is a fighter. That's pretty awesome. You go to the Olympics, cool. You get signed to Golden Boy, cool. Let me make my debut on Canelo Chavez.
Yeah, that's excellent. And being on this free view, he has an international audience. And he's been seen before. Obviously, he's a 2016 Olympian. He also participated in the World Series of Boxing, traveled the world fighting semi-pro. So he's been seen by boxing aficionados in a number of countries. But this, for most American hardcore fans, this is their first look at him. And this will be my first real look at him.
And that's his opponent, Jesus Sanchez, 25-year-old, born in Michoacan, in Mexico, now living in Northern California. Look at the tail of the tape for this one, Doug.
Yeah, we have two young, tall welterweights. They're guys weighing about 1.5 pounds over the welterweight division. Obviously, Curiel, a little bit younger, 4 years younger. He has a wingspan that is 4 inches longer. Sanchez has a very slight height advantage.
That's our opening bout tonight, working towards the main event of Canelo and Chavez Jr. We're inside the T-Mobile Arena, where a year ago on this weekend, we saw Canelo knock out Amir Khan in what was the first ever sporting event here at the christened T-Mobile Arena. Let's get to the first bout of the evening, and let's go to our ring announcer, Joe Martinez.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Welcome to T-Mobile Arena here in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, for an exciting night of professional boxing, all presented by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and sponsored by Tecate, Born Bold, Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Aerolínea Oficial del Box, the smart way to fly with Interjet. Adriana's Insurance, the high-risk driver's choice, in King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword, hits theaters May 12th. This bout is scheduled for 4 rounds in the super welterweight division. Your 3 judges scoring: Max DeLuca, Patricia Morse-Jarman, and Ricardo Ocasio. When the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Jay Nady. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing solid black trunks, he weighed in officially 148 pounds. His professional record stands even with 1 victory, 1 defeat, 2 draws. From Michoacan, Mexico, here is Jesus Sanchez. His opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing silver trimmed in black, weighed in 148.5 pounds, and tonight he makes his professional debut. From Tamaulipas, Mexico, un ex-miembro del Comité Olímpico Mexicano, here is Raul Cougar Curiel.
Fighters come center. 4 rounds. Obey my commands. Good luck. Touch gloves. Let's go to work.
Referee Jay Nady, the third man in the ring. That's got to be a cool experience, well, Doug. Everybody wants to have a pro debut, but in Las Vegas?
And on such an amazing card, especially being a Mexican Olympian, to basically fight on the undercard of Mexico's Super Bowl, Canelo versus Chavez Jr. That's awesome.
That should tell you a lot of what Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, and Eric Gomez think of young Raul Curiel, who's in the silver trunks, Mexico in the back of his belt line. You know, there was some talk of who he was going to sign with, what weight he was going to be at.
Right, because he could be a junior middleweight or he could be a welterweight. And I think at age 21 and just weighing 1.5 pounds over the welterweight division, I imagine he can make 147 pretty easy.
From talking with Frank Espinoza, his manager, Manny Robles, his trainer, they think he can get to 47 easily, just like you said it, Doug, because he is 21 years old. His first professional fight. Curiel from Tamaulipas, Mexico, started boxing at the age of 6, just messing around. His dad was a fighter. His brother was also a fighter. He would go to the gym and then didn't really start taking it seriously until he was 15 when he started winning some of the bigger regional tournaments. That caught the attention of the Mexican national team. Went to the 2016 Rio Olympics. The night before his first fight, food poisoning. Missed his opportunity to fight for his country as he gets hit here on the right side. Those are the body, does Curiel. Upstairs, downstairs, go 1-2. Body shot from Curiel.
Sanchez isn't here to lie down. He's punching back. I like what I see so far from Curiel. Good foundation and very good balance. Works everything off his jab. It's good basic boxing here, but he's an aggressive boxer, obviously.
Jesus Sanchez, 1-1-2, started boxing at the age of 17. His brother took him to the gym. They didn't like it, so for a year he stayed away and decided to graduate high school, goes back. Originally born in Michoacan, Mexico, now living in Madera, California. That's where he went and found the sport of boxing. He's hit with the right hand from Curiel, a left from Curiel.
And it looks like that straight right is the power punch of choice for Curiel.
Stop! Break!
Good opening round, scheduled for 4. The super welterweight division, Raul Curiel, Jesus Sanchez in Las Vegas, Nevada. Robles, trainer for Raul Curiel, and Robles has been having a heck of a couple years, hasn't he, Doug?
Oh, he's got so much talent. A lot of talent out of that World Series of Boxing, because when the U.S. was involved in that semi-pro series, he was the coach of the L.A. Matadors. So he traveled with the L.A. Matadors and met all this talent, this excellent amateur talent, guys like from Ireland, Jason Quigley, and people like Curiel from south of the border. And when they decided to turn pro and they made a decision that they wanted to turn pro in the U.S., maybe get hopefully be signed by Golden Boy Promotions, well, it was only natural that they looked up Manny Robles.
Young fighter Manny Robles has world champions Oscar Valdez, Jesse Magdaleno in his stable.
And a light heavyweight contender in Slava Shabransky, who also participated in the World Series of Boxing.
That's a heavy stable, so they brought him over to the United States. Asked Curiel if, what was the reasoning behind it. He said, I could have signed with anybody in Mexico and got easy fights, or I can become a name in the United States. He's actually moved to the United States, plans on staying in the U.S. and going back to Mexico only to visit now.
Is he learning English?
Actually, at the press conference, spoke very fluent English, was doing interviews in English. I go to the same gym and I see him. I never knew he spoke English. I was like, where did this come from? He said 3 years ago, when I was on that Olympic path, I would fight different people. I knew I had to learn it, so he started putting the subtitles on movies. And by reading the subtitles, he taught himself English.
He's a smart and ambitious man. He has, like I said, an aggressive boxing style. He's a very willful fighter in there. He's not super special athletically speaking. He doesn't have that sort of elite level speed and reflexes. But you can make up for that with a sound foundation, really learning the boxing fundamentals, getting your technique down. And in Manny Robles Jr., he's got a coach that is going to teach him sort of the finer points of the sport, feinting and defense. Going to add wrinkles and layers to that aggressive game that he brought from Mexico.
Jesus to be Sanchez in the black, working at a cheap cornerstone gym in Madera. Favorite fighter, Manny Pacquiao. Had 2 weeks to get ready for this fight. Said he stays in the gym because that's his role. A young up-and-coming fighter, you got to stay in the gym.
And he looks to be in decent conditioning. He's hanging tough so far.
Working our way towards Canelo and Cesar Chavez Jr. Go to goldenboyppv.com.
Nice uppercut.
Yes, it was.
Sanchez. He's not here to lay down.
Nope.
I like this.
That's exactly what he was saying when he was getting his hand stitched by Stitch Duran, and he said, hey, I have experience. He doesn't. Oh, and he gets hit with a good right.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has his stance. Now he goes Martinez. Huge right hand by Canelo. Knocked on full.
On Saturday, May 6th, the world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Third round coming your way. Got the Duran, Doug Fisher. There you see Manny Robles and his new pupil, Raul Curiel. He has the nickname Cougar, spelled C-U-G-A-R. Has nothing to do with the animal. His last name is Curiel Garcia. As most Latinos have Spanish players, two last names. Said one day as a joke, I just call myself Cougar, and Jim, Doug, as you know this, you make a joke, it sticks with you.
It's going to stay with him his entire career, but it's okay. If you think you're talking about the big cat, well, he has that kind of a style. He's on the prowl. He's a nice search and destroy type fighter, and like I said, I like that right hand. That's his weapon of choice. And he's able to deliver it in a number of ways. He kind of throws it overhand. He throws a nice straight. Throws a compact cross. Sometimes he leads with it. He's sneaky with it.
They give him a good opponent, and Sanchez, who's not here to lay down, he's giving him right back to him. Good resistance. Scheduled for 4.
I think Golden Boy knows they don't have to spoon feed this kid. He's not like actually a lot of their young prospects are in their teens. They're 18 and 19 years old. They're still growing. Even if they had an extensive amateur background, they don't really have that man strength yet. He's 21 years old. And apart from that amateur background, he also has those 12 fights, basically semi-pro fights from the World Series of Boxing. He was 8-4 in that series. and he had to match up with the best amateur talent from, you know, boxing nations like Cuba, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, different parts of Europe. So he's used to a lot of styles.
Yeah, Jesus Sanchez, his opponent, talking with his trainer Raul said, you know, this isn't your normal kid making a debut. He's fought, as you mentioned, Doug, in that World Series of Boxing with no headgear. So this kid has that experience, but we have the pro experience.
Right, I call the World Series of Boxing sort of semi-pro because they don't have the headgear, and they go 5 rounds.
From Tamaulipas, Tampico, Mexico. That's where Raul Curiel is from. Northern part of the country. Cerca de Durango. Don Jose is watching us. Thanks for everybody watching us all over the world right now. Listen to Beto Duran, Doug Fisher. It's also available. Oh, good
Beautiful
shot.
left uppercut.
Yes, it was. Back to the body. Oh, good left hook from Curiel.
Okay, I take it back. His right hand is not his only weapon. He's got a nice hook. He's not bad with the left.
Raul Curiel, Cougar. Silver trunks. Looking good doing his pro debut. Gets hit with the right by Sanchez. 10 seconds to go. Ooh. Good shot landed by Sanchez.
I'm impressed with Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's lost this round, but he's letting Curiel know that he's in a fight.
This is how you come in.
Won that. Come on. One more round and we got this. All right?
As well as gives you access to exclusive photos, videos, and live streams. Only available on the
Curiel's in tough, but he won round 3 with that beautiful, well-timed left uppercut. Fired from the hip, and you see him work the body and come back up to the head with a left hook.
really feel the action as your home vibrates every time Canelo lands a bold punch. The new Tecate section brings you closer to Canelo's fans.
Let's just go get it now. Come on, shake your legs. Let's go. Come on, come on.
You see Jesus Sanchez, he's landed some good shots. He was very confident in the back. He was getting his hand stitched by the one and only Jacob Stitch Duran.
Veteran corner man.
Yep. 4th and final round. You hear the voice, go get it, Chewy. The young Sanchez. Tell him to put the pressure on. Right hand from Curiel. Little urgency in the corner of Sanchez.
Well, this is a 4-round fight. Maybe they figure, hey, we may have won one of these rounds. If we take this last round, we get a draw against an Olympian. I mean, that's something. I take that.
With a promoter, what they've been talking about. Sanchez wasn't invited to the press conferences.
I have a feeling we're going to see him again.
Oh, yeah.
Probably on the LA Fight Club series, because this guy is, as our cohort Steve Kim likes to say, offers professional resistance. He's not just in there being tough and taking punches. He's punching back. And he's getting some time to recover from, I guess, a low blow.
Yep.
Inadvertent punch below the belt.
Sanchez turned pro in 2014, fought in 2015, and he hasn't fought since August of 2015.
Wow, so he was inactive all last year, and he's looking this good.
Yeah, he's been got back into the gym. It's hit with the body shot, or was it low?
Well, I noticed Sanchez he'll clinch when they get in close. He does that. It's a good survival tactic.
Sanchez,
but I think when he does that, Curiel, he's trying to fire to the body, and sometimes he gets pushed down, and then the punches stray below the belt. Nice jab to the body for Curiel.
GoldenBoyPPV.com, where you can get the online version for Canelo and Chavez. It's also available in Espanol. In English and Espanol. I'm only doing English. Doug, you doing some Espanol?
Maybe a little bit.
The Spanish broadcasters are next to us, so you'll be able to, sometimes they'll bleed into our ears. Go and check it out tonight. Canelo Chavez.
And if you select the Spanish online broadcast, you get an all-time great Mexican commentator, Eric El Terrible Morales.
And if you select the English, you'll get some Spanglish out of Beto Duran.
Not too shabby.
Hola, amigos. Everybody watching us all over the world, especially in Guadalajara and Culiacán. También los de Durango, los que están mirando ahorita en Tamaulipas, the hometown of El Cougar, Raul Curiel. Fight winding down. 30 seconds to go in our opening bout here at the T-Mobile Arena. A little bit over a year old. Beautiful facility right off the Vegas Strip. Good action for a kid who's making his pro debut. It doesn't quite look like it. The final seconds, good left landed by Curiel as Sanchez stays right there with him. Good scrap. Two young fighters going at it. What more do you want? And that'll do it. 4 good rounds between Raul Curiel and Jesus Sanchez. That's how you open it up.
I'll tell you what, I think Sanchez lost this fight, but he's going to give a lot of young up-and-comers tough nights if he chooses to stay in the professional game. He's very tall, he's very tough, he's cagey in there. But I think Curiel handled him, and I saw a lot from him. I saw more from Curiel than I saw on YouTube watching some of those World Series of boxing bouts. Seeing better head and upper body movement, seeing better footwork. So he's learning here.
Pay-per-view tonight. Oh, the battle for Mexico. Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Both weighed 164 pounds. They agreed to 164 and a half. Chavez Jr., a lot of questions. Would he make the weight? He made it and flexed. And the stare down yesterday after that weigh-in was fantastic. Over 10,000 people were inside for the weigh-in. And tonight, it'll be sold out inside the T-Mobile Arena. Sold out in less than 9 days. Woo, there are standing room only tickets, closed circuit venues all over for Canelo and Chavez Jr. in Vegas.
Se ha vuelto personal, ¿no? Ya desde hace años se ha venido viendo esta rivalidad entre Chavez y yo.
Te vas a dar cuenta qué clase de peleador soy. No soy más el hijo de Julio César Chávez, te vas a dar cuenta.
I don't know what it is, for some strange reason, when two Mexicans face each other, it's a guaranteed war.
Tonight, Canelo and Chavez Jr. go at it. Let's get the decision from Raul Curiel, Jesus Sanchez. Standing by, the one and only ring announcer, Joe Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards, and here are the totals. Patricia Morse-Jarman scores this bout even, 38-38. Max DeLuca and Ricardo Ocasio have it 40-36 for your winner by majority decision. In his professional debut, Raul Cougar Curiel.
Well, now you know why Sanchez's corner was really telling him to go out and win that final round, because in a 4-round fight, you never know what's going to happen. Patricia Morse-Jarman, she had a 38-38 even scorecard. Could have won it on her card at least, but not on the other 2 official scorecards. I think Sanchez probably legitimately won 1 round, but the right guy won his pro debut.
He won his pro debut, 21-year-old from Tamaulipas, Tampico, Mexico. He didn't get a chance to fight in the Olympics because of that stomach flu, but he gets a shot in Las Vegas on Canelo and Chavez night. Those 4 good rounds. It's a professional resistance.
Shows a lot of potential, and I think he's going to be a very entertaining fighter to watch. I definitely think his future is at welterweight, not at junior middleweight, so he needs to drop a few pounds, get maybe a little bit better condition, but I see a bright future for this young man.
There it is, Bethel Duran, Doug Fisher tonight, pay-per-view. Thanks to everybody watching us all over the world right now in New Jersey, getting some people in New York watching it. Saludos a todos los que están in Mexico. Got a couple people in Curiel's hometown that enjoyed it. Also, Carlos Mariscal out in Long Beach. Also, there's Professor Gabriel, who has his iPad and a little speaker set up in the garage watching us.
Let me tell you something. This card, the demand is unprecedented. I think when the fight was first announced, everybody was thinking it's going to be the Mexican Super Bowl. All of Mexico is going to stand still, and all the hardcore fans in America or North America are going to, they're going to tune in. They're going to buy the pay-per-view. But this has worldwide attention. I mean, it's really, I think it's even surprised the promoters.
Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in two different regions of the country. Culiacan, Guadalajara, different music, different vibes, and they're split at the press conferences this week. You heard them at the weigh-in. You heard the fans cheering, talking all over each other. That's coming up tonight. Las Vegas is the spot to be on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Canelo Chavez Jr. in Vegas.
Canelo, be bold.
Be bolder.
Whoa. Come on, Canelo, be bold.
Be bolder, Sly.
You got it. Let me get in there.
Tecate Light, born bold.
Inside the T-Mobile Arena, Bethel Duran, Doug Fisher working our way towards Canelo and Chavez Jr. And Doug, you read a fantastic mailbag every Friday and Mondays. When this fight was announced, you had some skepticism. People always going poo-poo about it. As we've gotten closer, we've seen how serious Junior's been about his conditioning. It seems like the attitude has changed about this.
And I think the skepticism is part of the motivation for Junior. I think Junior made it a point to hire the best team available out there. He basically has the crew behind Juan Manuel Marquez, the folks who made Juan Marquez go from featherweight to a welterweight contender and title holder. Nacho Beristain, a Hall of Fame trainer, and Memo Heredia, one of the top nutritional and conditioning gurus in the game. So we have to assume that he took that weight off intelligently and has put it back on intelligently, and I believe that one of their strategies is to come into this fight in the high 170s, maybe 180 pounds, and that's going to present a challenge to Canelo that he's never had to deal with before. I think Canelo is always the bigger, stronger man in the ring. Tonight, it's going to be a little something different.
Definitely the main event tonight, Canelo and Chavez Jr. We've already seen one Olympian get into the ring, Raul Curiel, in his pro debut. Won a decision. He fought for Mexico in the Olympics. Now we're going to see our second Olympian, Marlen Esparza out of Houston, Texas, will be coming to the ring in moments. There you see the T-Mobile Arena right next to the freeway, right off the side. There's been a buzz here early in the afternoon. Fans were lined up early, just trying to get into the building. And they're going to see some quality fights. Earlier this afternoon, there was some Golden Boy fighters. Joseph Aguirre from Cancun and Ronnie Rios had good victories. We just saw Raul Curiel, and now it's going to be Marlen Esparza and Samantha Salazar, a female fight coming your way. Esparza recently signed to Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah, the first female fighter ever signed to a multi-fight deal by Golden Boy Promotions. She made her pro debut on their ESPN series. Can't ask for a better pro debut platform. And her second professional fight is under a major pay-per-view event. That's excellent. And Esparza, she's earned it. She was the first U.S. female to earn an Olympic medal. She has a lot of endorsements. She's a hometown hero in Houston, Texas. Great interview and a very fun fighter to watch.
Yeah, she'll be taking on Samantha Salazar, a fellow Texan. This one out of Dallas. So you have the Houston and Dallas connection going.
Crosstown, yeah, or cross-state. Yeah, rivalry.
And this fight will be different, a 3-minute round.
This is something Esparza and other standout female amateur boxers have pushed for. they want to fight the full 3 rounds. They think it's actually better for them. They have more time to work on things round for round and more time to warm up.
Normally a female fight is 2 rounds.
2 minutes per round.
I mean 2 minutes, yeah, 2 minutes per round. This one is scheduled for 4 rounds with 3-minute rounds. Let's look at the tail of the tape also.
Esparza is 4 years younger at age 27, and Salazar enjoys a slight height and reach advantage.
Salazar 2-3-1, always good when you come into some Tigres del Norte.
U.S. Olympian
Esparza.
Make some noise for Marlen Esparza.
Como les está calando en el negocio de grandes, la señora está rifando, ahí me traen de boca en boca. Quieren quitarme del mando.
Esparza's got her game face on. She looks hyped, and I know she's excited about this fight because this is her second camp at the Snack Gym in the Bay Area of California. So she's been training differently than she had back in Houston as an amateur. A lot of different professional, not just boxing techniques, but athletic techniques that have improved her as an athlete. She wants to see how that plays out in the ring.
Coming into some Jenny Rivera Ovarios. So the late Jenny Rivera bringing in Marlen Esparza. And our ring announcer is Joel Martinez. He's ready to go.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go with our next bout this afternoon. 4 rounds, this in the women's flyweight division. Your 3 judges scoring at ringside: Lisa Ciampa, Robert Hoyle, and Steve Morrow. When the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Hall of Famer Robert Byrd. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. Wearing black, trimmed in red, she weighed in officially 111 pounds. As a professional, her record: 2 victories, 3 defeats, 1 bout even. From Dallas, Texas, here is Samantha Salazar. And her opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing red, trimmed in blue and silver. She weighed in 110.5 pounds. Her professional record in 1 bout, perfect with 1 victory, no defeats. From Houston, Texas, here is the first female Olympian to win the bronze medal in the Olympics. Here is undefeated Marlen Esparza.
Okay, ladies, I give you instructions in the dressing room. The thing I'm gonna remind you of now is when I tell you stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing, get a clean break. Protect yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times, okay? Samantha, Marlen, let's do it.
Robert Byrd, the 3rd person in the ring.
Another veteran official. He was a veteran back in California and then relocated here in Nevada and has refereed some of the biggest championship fights in recent history here in Las Vegas.
We're ready to go. 4 rounds, flyweight division. Marlen Esparza in the red comes out quick against Samantha Salazar in the black. Esparza 1-0, as Dougie mentioned. She made her pro debut on an ESPN card back in March. Salazar 2-3-1 is her professional record.
Esparza is a frenetic boxer. She doesn't have a lot in the way of power or brute physical strength, but she has very quick hands. So sometimes she's able to hurt her opponent or even drop her opponent just by landing quick 1-2s that the opponent doesn't see.
Do they train, you think, differently knowing that, hey, now there's 3-minute rounds instead of the normal 2?
Absolutely. They'll train, they'll spar with 3-minute rounds or even 4-minute rounds like some of the men do. And when they're fighting 2-minute rounds, they have to get used to 2-minute rounds, so they will spar 2-minute rounds. See, if you train fighting sparring 3-minute rounds and then you're fighting with 2-minute rounds, your pacing is off.
Got it. Trained by Virgil Hunter in Northern California is Esparza. 2012 bronze medalist. The London Games, there you see that Olympic ring tattoo on her left shoulder. Only female signed to the Golden Boy Promotion brand. Bouncing around on her toes in Esparza. So many accolades for her in her career. Fought all over the world, represented the United States. Pan Am Games, Olympics, Nationals, for the world. Samantha Salazar, her first fight was in a hotel room in downtown Fort Worth, Texas. A no decision because of cuts. That was back in 2015.
Salazar is finally punching back. She looked a little shell-shocked in there. Just eats a right cross from Esparza.
Salazar was last in the ring, and March 14th, she got the victory over Mystery Neal, 4 rounds. She fought 5 times in 2016, so she was very active last year. Esparza bouncing around. Look a little bit more hype for this one than she did on her ESPN card.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Esparza was a little tight under the bright lights and a national televised audience. She's a little more settled down here, but I see more on her punches.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm watching this live and not on TV as I did for a pro debut, but I'm seeing a lot more snap on her shots, and I think she goes to the body very well.
3-minute rounds, no biggie for Marlen Esparza and Samantha Salazar. Good opening round between the two females. The night of Canelo and Chavez Jr.
Not back up on her. You need to throw your combinations, go to angles, don't back up. Okay? You're sitting right here, you're throwing your jab and you're backing up. All she has is that overhand right. That's all she has. Okay? So you need to go to angles. If you see the overhand right, slip underneath there, give me a hook to the body. You got a towel? Touch her with the jab. Okay? Hit her with it all night. Yeah.
I'm throwing it too hard all the time.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, the right hand is where you want. You want the right hand. All the jab and the up is just to set it up. You know what I'm saying? Then come over the top of the right hand. Now, the only other thing is the only time you're missing it is when you pull your head. See the shot all the way there. Okay, if you're going to throw it, commit to it, see it. All right? Everything else beautiful. Keep that rhythm. Okay?
A jab, followed by an overhand right, lands right to the temple of Salazar.
Second round of action between Salazar and Marlen Esparza. Female boxing on the rise. USA Boxing doing a lot with it. Joette Gonzalez, Golden Boy fighter, watching in Glendora, California right now. His sister, Donhaira, a very talented amateur standout. The whole entire Gonzalez clan, led by Don Chuy Gonzalez, Azusa Boxing. Her young sister on her way to turning pro soon. Good action between Esparza and Salazar right now.
The female boxing scene worldwide is experiencing a resurgence because it's finally seeing the benefit of a solid amateur program for girls. As they mature into women and participate in amateur tournaments nationally and internationally, as Esparza does, and they turn pro, they know how to fight.
There's also so many for these young females to look up to.
Right, they will inspire many, and they're aware of that too. If you talk to any standout female fighter, they're very aware that they're trailblazers.
Well, you see this more and more as you're in the sport. When you go to gyms, you used to just see only the little boys there skipping rope. Now you see some of their sisters are involved. And a person like Marlen Esparza, being signed to a promotional contract, having national endorsements, that you got to have the example for you to go out and say, I can do something. Be an inspiration for somebody.
And we're seeing more of these standout amateurs turn pro and get television coverage.
Yeah.
Not just in the U.S., but also in the U.K. and other parts of the world.
And they're talented. Most of these girls spar with men. You see the difference in the athleticism in them.
And I think that's part of the reason why Esparza wants to box 3 rounds. She's like, I'm sparring with dudes. Don't treat me any different. She points out that in the UFC, it's not like the female fighters fight shorter rounds than the men. Why should it be any different in boxing?
Good combination landed by the Houston Texan Esparza. Salazar with a good 1-2 of their own. Good jabs by Esparza.
I think Salazar needs to come forward. I think she needs to step up her pressure, try to make it an inside fight because she can't compete with Esparza's speed on the outside.
Canelo Chavez Jr., the main event tonight at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Crowd already starting to come in. Good overhand right landed by Esparza.
That was a lead right from the outside, which lets you know about the disparity in speed and reflexes.
Closing seconds of the second round, scheduled for 4 in the flyweight division.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has it stakes. Down goes Martinez. Huge right hand by Canelo. Knocked on full.
On Saturday, May 6th, the world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view tonight, Canelo Chavez Jr. Right now you're getting some bonus action. Watching us all over, and watching us at Ventura. Art Martinez, he and the family. I know you guys are getting the pay-per-view tonight to see Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We've been here all week long. Let me just tell you, from Tuesday when the grand rivals, there was a buzz. Wednesday, the press conferences, you could tell they didn't like each other. The weigh-in yesterday, over 10,000 people were there. He started lining up at 9 a.m. when security let them finally line up. And it was an electric atmosphere, so the fight tonight is only going to get even more intense. You're watching Marlen Esparza in the red against Samantha Salazar. Salazar 2-3-1 from Dallas, Texas.
And so far, just not able to contend with the better skill and technique and speed and reflexes from Esparza. I think Salazar's only chance of really making this a fight is to get in close and try to crowd Esparza. And she may not have the ability or the willingness to do so, but sooner or later we will see Esparza in with a fighter who's going to take the jab in the right hand and just come forward and make it a close quarters fight, and that's going to be interesting.
You know, when you're a fight fan, you see the people, Doug, who get here at 2 o'clock to make sure they don't miss anything, or now with technology in 2017 where you can stream the fights all over the place just like you can tonight, to hear the English version with Doug and myself, or the Spanish version with El Terrible Morales. I can't believe El Terrible sitting right next to you, bro.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. You have so many Mexican boxing legends here in Las Vegas. I was walking with Chiquita Gonzalez. I'm like,
well, half of them are doing commentary gigs. They're here with the networks.
Well, actually, in Mexico, both of the big networks are going to be showing this fight.
Right, Televisa and Azteca.
That's all
simultaneously. That's how big this fight is in Mexico. Forget about it.
A lot of the Golden Boy fighters watching us right now. Zachary Ochoa, Joette Gonzalez watching us. Up-and-coming Golden Boy fighters. It's like they're watching us in Torrance, California at the Curiel house. Take the kids to Little League, then you come home and watch some boxing. That's what you need. Marlen Esparza looking more and more comfortable as the fight progresses.
She's looking fierce.
I think this is what people expected to see in her pro debut. They knew they had the capability of it.
Didn't she have like a hair malfunction?
Yeah, she did. The braids are a lot tighter tonight.
That happened to Paulie Malignaggi in a title fight.
You're right, it did.
Some years ago. So.
But Martin, that overhand right from her.
You can sympathize with her. Yeah, it's very well timed.
Good defense from Marlen also. Right hand from Salazar.
Yeah, there we go.
And she gets mad about the good combination. 1-2.
I see her. She's breathing kind of heavy, so she's feeling it. She's working very hard, and I think she's trying to put as much as she can into each shot, which could be a mistake. It won't cost her in this fight against this opponent, but you never want to load up too much.
first round, okay? We don't need no more energy after this round. Give it all you got, let go of your right hand. You gotta knock her out. You're not gonna win this. You gotta knock her out.
Touch up center ring.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let go of the right hand. You land your right hand, stop bouncing back. When you block the jab, don't bounce back. Block it.
Aside from that slip, every time it's beautiful. Landed crisp every time she's slipped before.
Next round, guys. Touch up center ring.
But come over the top of the right hand. Finish it with the right hand over the top. Okay, you slipped in, double, right. All right? Hook right hand.
Esparza times a beautiful overhand right over the jab of Salazar. It lands. There's another kind of like an overhand right cross. And that right hand has been Esparza's weapon of choice through 3 rounds.
That's right, Doug. A 3-minute round. Normally the females go 2 rounds, or Esparza petitioning and campaigning for 3. She got it.
She's in great shape, but I think she's feeling it. She kind of, and it could just be psychological. She knows normally she's fighting 2-minute rounds, and now, okay, these are 3-minute rounds, and just psychologically, it's just in the back of her mind.
She loads up on her punches, looking for that big shot. That also takes a toll on you, but
yeah, I think that's the primary reason she is kind of breathing heavy. It's not because of anything that Salazar has done, other than be able to take the punches. It's the fact that she's trying to punch with as much power as she can with each shot, and that'll touch you out, even if you're in terrific shape.
I like what I see from Marlen Esparza, going upstairs, downstairs, mixing it up. Good hooks here.
Use it.
Good combinations.
She's more flat-footed for this fight than she was in her pro debut. That's something I noticed. In her pro debut, she was on her toes, in and out, a little bit more of an amateurish style. Now settled down more for the pro style, getting leverage on her punches, and we're seeing body shots from her as well.
More conscious going to the body. Looking good. Salazar in the black. Only time she's been stopped has been because one was a no decision, and last year she was stopped in the first round. Other than that, all her fights have gone to decision.
We're halfway through this final round. If Salazar has anything left in her tank, she needs to let her hands go now, because I'm seeing Esparza breathe pretty heavy. She's holding her form, though. She's a pro in there. A young pro, but she's professional.
Training with Virgil Hunter, snack system up in Northern California. With Victor Conti, where they do all kinds of different workouts.
Yeah, that's world-class, elite-level athletic preparation right there.
They measure every single breath you take up there.
No, they literally have it down to a science.
Conti had Andre Ward up there. Abner Mars has been up there.
Daniel Jacobs was there.
Jacobs,
and he had the best performance of his career training with those folks.
Go.
This is two tired fighters still putting on a show. Still going at it. Oh, good right landed. Another good right from Marlen.
I'll say this about Salazar. She can take a shot.
Yeah, she can.
She's got a chin, and she's got a lot of heart in there.
A lot of other fighters would have probably gone down from a shot like that.
But this is interesting. Esparza is visibly spent as we come to the end of this 4th and final round. It will be interesting to see how she holds up, especially in the 3-minute rounds, going to 6 and 8 round limit.
Final second of the fight between Marlen Esparza, Samantha Salazar. That'll do it. Ladies go 4 tough rounds. It'll go to the judges' decisions, but it was a good second professional fight for Marlen Esparza there in her corner.
Yeah, her style looked more professional in this fight. I think what she needs to learn from this fight going into bout number 3 is not to load up with every shot. Let it flow, be a little more fluid, touch a little bit, and then pick your spots to let the heavy stuff go. Because I could see she was feeling the burn, particularly that second half of the 4th round.
Marlen Esparza, not Marlene, it is Marlen.
Marlen.
Household name, quickly becoming that. Look at a good smile, feeling good about herself. Much better performance from her pro debut.
I agree. And I'm sure there's a feeling of satisfaction because of that, and because she was fighting 3-minute rounds, which is what she wanted. It's what she's lobbying for.
Thanks, everybody.
They should take her mouthpiece out, though, so she can get more air in.
Houston, Texas zone, 2012, a bronze medalist in the London Games. Now an effort from her opponent, Salazar.
She hung tough. She made the Olympian extend herself, at least physically speaking.
Esparza, March 23rd, came out, made her pro debut. But Doug, tonight, you were saying that she was more on her punches, and she was winding up.
She wasn't on her toes. She was flat-footed, and she was timing these right hands that landed almost every time she pulled the trigger on that particular punch. Sometimes it was an uppercut. Sometimes it was the overhand right that landed right on the temple and knocked Salazar off balance. She always went back to her jab like a good amateur standout would and should. Beautiful. She slipped the right hand and comes back with her own right hand.
Joe Martinez is our ring announcer. He is ready to go with decisions.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. First, how about a hand for these 2 women who just made history, completing 4 3-minute rounds for the first time ever in women's boxing. All 3 judges see it the same, 40-36. Your winner by unanimous decision. She is still undefeated. Houston, Texas own Marlen Esparza.
Now 2-0, Marlen Esparza gets the decision.
And more exposure. Hopefully gaining more fans and more momentum in a very promising professional career.
Beth Duran, Doug Fisher at the T-Mobile Arena, working our way towards Raul Canelo Alvarez against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We are in the desert of Las Vegas, the boxing capital of the world. It has been hot all week long. It doesn't matter because the fans are going to see a great show tonight. They're coming from all over Mexico, all over the United States. If you're a boxing freak, this is the spot to be. There you see the Las Vegas Strip. I mean, I didn't venture outside. I didn't even lose weight. Did you go outside, Doug?
No, maybe Junior did, and he put the plastic on. Maybe that's how he got under the contracted limit. He made weight with half a pound to spare, but I really believe he did that to make a statement to let people know that he's serious, that he can make the weight, and that he's going to come ready to fight and pull a huge upset tonight here at T-Mobile.
At the weigh-ins on Friday, I interviewed him immediately after he got off the scales. He just was in a zone. He's like, let's go, let's do this, hurry up. I'm like, okay, let me get a camera guy before.
You know what, and listen, he looked thin. He looked sucked in a little bit in his stomach, but he wasn't totally dried out. It's not like his tongue was thick or his eyes were glazed over. Definitely, I've seen fighters more depleted and drained than Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was last night, who still showed up on Saturday and threw down. And matter of fact, one of them is just sitting right down from us, Eric Morales. Every weigh-in I saw El Terrible at, he looked horrible. He looked like a zombie. He had no muscle definition, but then fight night comes and he's awesome.
That'll be coming up later on tonight.
Reto personal, ¿no? Ya desde hace años se ha venido viendo esta rivalidad entre Chavez y yo.
Te vas a dar cuenta qué clase de peleador soy. No soy más el hijo de Julio César Chávez, te vas a dar cuenta.
I don't know what it is. For some strange reason, when 2 Mexicans face each other, it's a guaranteed war.
Inside the T-Mobile Arena, fans are starting to make their way inside as they're not trying to miss anything tonight. Brought to you by Golden Boy Promotions. Beth Duran, Doug Fisher. There you see Canelo Alvarez training footage. He had his camp as he normally does in San Diego County, where he trains when he's not living in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Cameras were all over him. Go and check it out tonight. The pay-per-view available in English with Doug and myself, or in Spanish. You'll hear the voice of El Terrible Eric Morales. Tijuana, you gotta say Frontera Norte, right? Zona Norte.
Yeah, Zona Norte, absolutely.
You gotta get in that. And
he repped it.
He did, and Canelo reps Guadalajara. Chavez Jr. reps Culiacan, Sinaloa. And you've been to Mexico, you've seen fights, and there's a different factions. When you're in different parts of the country, you pick your guys. They say in Spanish, ese es mi gallo. That's my guy. You know, that's who you're gonna go for. And we saw it at the weigh-in. Canelo getting booed. Chavez getting booed.
That's right. They have their fans and supporters, and they have their haters.
Oh,
these guys have their haters.
Oh,
they really do.
They do, and they love.
But it's okay. Yeah, the haters pay for the ticket. You know, they're gonna buy the pay-per-view.
Oh, you know it. It's like, I hate him. Hey, man, who's got the fight tonight?
Exactly.
You know what you can do? You can make sure you get the online version with Doug and myself. If you got to drive around, if you got to work, you got to get on the computer, we have it for you. Go to Golden Boy pay-per-view and check that
We're
out.
going to have some fun because the pay-per-view undercard is pretty good. I like that Joseph Diaz Jr. fight. He's in against a fellow undefeated young boxer. The return of Lucas Matisse, and he's in tough after being out of the ring for over a year against Emmanuel Taylor. And then David Lemieux is always a lot of fun because he's just seek and destroy.
If David Lemieux can do what he did against Curtis Stevens, my goodness, this building is going to explode.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has his stance. Now goes Martinez. Huge right hand by Canelo. Knocked down full.
On Saturday, May 6th, the world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
There you see the T-Mobile Arena. One more fight coming for you in the free-per-view. We're going to see from New Jersey, Tyrone Luckey taking on undefeated Ryan Garcia. And this is going to be a challenge. A lot of people raving about Ryan Garcia. We've seen him, Doug, 8-0, 7 KOs.
Oh, Oscar positively gushes when he talks about this kid, and I see why. He's a fresh-faced kid. He's got fast hands. He's very ambitious in there, but this is his first real test as a professional because Tyrone Luckey is not just one of these tough journeymen to take your rounds. He's a seasoned journeyman who is still in his athletic prime as we look at the tail of the tape. And there's the glaring statistic. At age 18, Ryan Garcia is 13 years younger. He's slightly taller and just very slightly rangier, but he is in very tough tonight against Luckey.
Both fighters are in the ring. As Vicente Fernandez's El Rey is jamming inside the T-Mobile Arena. Yesterday at the weigh-in, you had Tragos Amargo with 10,000 Mexicans singing along. That was a cool vibe. And Joe Martinez is a man who was singing along too. He's in the ring right now.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go with our next bout tonight. 6 rounds, this scheduled in the lightweight division. Your 3 judges scoring at ringside are Kermit Bayless, Tim Cheatham, and Glenn Trowbridge. When the bell rings, referee in charge of the action, Russell Mora. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with red trim, he weighed in 131 1/2 pounds. A veteran, he brings 8 victories, 6 defeats, 3 draws, and 6 wins coming by way of knockout, fighting out of Long Beach, New Jersey. Hands of stone, Tyrone Luckey! And across the ring stands his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing black and gold, he weighed in officially 131 3/4 pounds. In 8 professional bouts, he stands perfect with 8 victories, no defeats, 7 wins coming by way of knockout. Is the fighting pride of the high desert, hailing from Victorville, California, the undefeated King Ryan Garcia!
Okay, trunks here are good, trunks here, they're high. I'm going to call the belt line right there. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. You know I expect a clean fight. I want to remind you, protect yourself at all times. God bless, touch up.
Russell Mora, the 3rd man in the ring. We are ready to go. This one for 6 rounds in the lightweight division. There you see Ryan Garcia, 18 years old, against a grown man in Tyrone Luckey, 31 years old, out of Neptune, New Jersey.
Very risky fight that Golden Boy decided to sign off on. I mean, Ryan Garcia has looked good so far, but against opponents he was supposed to beat. And he has toppled him. And he's looked fast and flashy and fierce in there. But Luckey is not one to be intimidated. He has been in.
Down! And down goes Luckey right away. Got caught.
4, 5.
That was fast.
That was quick.
7.
But
Luckey's okay. Yeah.
Luckey's been down before.
Exactly.
He's been in this situation.
And he's been in against guys like Tevin Farmer, who was a top 10 contender at 150 pounds, and Jason Sosa, who won a world title at 130 pounds, just fought Vasil Lomachenko. And he was competitive in with those guys, even though he was stopped by Sosa and he dropped decision to Farmer. He was competitive in many of his losses. And he's beaten some prospects, I should say, so he's kind of a spoiler.
Ryan Garcia turned pro at 17. He was fighting in Tijuana, Mexico, the first 4 fights. He was signed to Golden Boy, made his Golden Boy debut in October. He's had KO, the last 3 fights, KOs in the 2nd round. He is quick, he's explosive. If you go to his Instagram page, you can check out his workouts. Puts up a lot of it. This kid is a fighter of the modern era. His social media presence is strong, and so are his hands.
Stop! Watch your hands, watch your hands. Watch your hands.
And he is very easy. He has blinding speed, and there's a lot of power at the end of those shots. Nice jab to the chest from Garcia. I think sometimes when he throws that hook, kind of wings it. Sometimes he, when he throws his right, he kind of like lunges with it. It's like he's got so much, I don't want to call it anxiety, but he has such a fierce competitive spirit. He gets ahead of himself a little bit.
Well, that's what Luckey said at the press conference. He's never fought a real man. Well, 31-year-old was dropped here in the 1st round. Quick, lightning speed from Ryan Garcia out of Victorville, trained by his dad, Henry. Out of the garage, there's no gym. It's the dad converted to the garage into a workout facility. That's where they have everything. They go all over Southern California, even to Nevada to get some sparring. Victorville, about an hour and a half north of downtown Los Angeles. If you're driving to Vegas, you pass by King Rye's hometown. The nickname is King Rye. Branded, sponsors, wild swing and a miss. Final seconds of the opening round. It is scheduled for 6. Ryan Garcia, Tyrone, Luckey. Taking the bigger shots is Garcia.
No. Good stuff from Garcia in round 1.
When you throw that hook and you miss, he's ducking.
I told you, this guy's got a nice hook. You gotta put your hands up. You gotta throw to the left hook. You gotta put down. You gotta toss to the body. Okay? Keep it moving. It's a good job. Straight punches. Your left hand is too low.
Let's get a look at this knockdown because it happened so fast. Missed it, boom. It was a left hook right on the button. And I don't think Luckey saw it. His glove hit the canvas. Wham, right on the face. And this is nice. You see Garcia bring his right hand up to block a left that Luckey had launched. Just as he ate that left hook that sent him, basically buckled his knee and caused his right glove to touch the canvas. So that's a technical knockdown.
Ryan Garcia in black, the black gloves. Opening the eyes of Valentin, 2828, a boxing photographer who's watching in Long Beach. Also Steve Rozzo, big fight fan, watching at work in Houston, Texas. They saw Garcia drop Luckey in the 1st round. Luckey easily the most experienced, seasoned person that Garcia has ever gone up against. That left hook is what you got to watch out for if you're Luckey. Overhand right, lands on the button with the left. Body work from Garcia.
Break!
Garcia has a younger brother who also fights, trained by their father. So you see more and more of these young kids deciding to forget the Olympics. You have a chance to turn pro, you do it at 18. Now in California, you can turn pro at 17. Make that money. A lot of them saying because in the amateurs now, there's no more headgear. Why risk it? Back from Garcia.
I like that Garcia is mixing his shots to the head and to the body.
Punches in front.
He's got just as much power in that right hand as he does with the hook. And as we know, he has a killer instinct. And he admits that his challenge is not to rush himself when he has an opponent stunned or hurt or reeling.
Keep your punches in front.
As Luckey said, his goal was to try to get him into the deep rounds. Because this kid has had one punch, call it Doug, the one-hitter quitters.
That's a gift from God if you've got it, just like hand speed.
Gonna make him work. That was the intended plan of Luckey. Garcia keeping that left hand down.
Yeah, but Luckey has tasted that power and he's experienced the speed a little bit, so I think he's kind of changing his game plan a little bit.
Let him go.
He's realizing this 18-year-old power is legit.
That right hand buckled the legs. Luckey.
No.
No,
I don't like it.
Stops the fight?
No.
I don't know. I don't like that stoppage. I mean, I think maybe it was within the referee's right to say, hey, maybe this is a technical knockdown because the ropes was basically keeping you into the ring.
Brother, not now.
But, well, you know what? Not a huge outcry from Luckey. I don't see a protest from him. Maybe he knew it was over himself. There's a busted nose there.
He's shaking his head like...
Maybe I'm being greedy. I wanted to see more from Ryan. I wanted to see the young man tested, and I thought that Luckey could give him a test.
I think we're saying because we've seen what Luckey's gone up against in his career and where he's been at. But regardless of a good outing for Ryan Garcia, he is now 9-0, 8 KOs against a very seasoned Tyrone Luckey. Garcia passes the test here in Las Vegas.
I can tell that Luckey is unhappy with his performance, but, you know, truth be told, he was a little bit overwhelmed, I think, by the sheer athleticism from the 18-year-old. That speed and power is a lot to deal with. Huge right hand. Now, you can't see below Luckey's waist, but his legs did buckle. He's on wobbly legs right now. He's being sort of overwhelmed against the ropes. I thought Russell Mora was stopping in to call that a technical knockdown. Let's get another angle of it. Big right hand. It did land on the temple, and that will affect a fighter's equilibrium. Follows up. Crowds Luckey against the ropes, and Mora sees enough. And Mora's looking very closely. Nice jab, splits the guard from Luckey, and a right hand right to the temple. Luckey's legs do the Bojangles briefly. Tries to duck from a right hand that grazes him. There's a grazing left to the top of the head. Yeah, if Mora hadn't stopped the fight, I think that would have been called a technical knockdown because the ropes are basically keeping him from falling on the table.
Two fighters shake hands in Luckey's corner. Ryan Garcia, though, 18-year-old, comes over and talks to Jim Lampley and talks to, as he's telling Roy Jones, I look up to you.
That's your move. That's your move.
Hey, he knows how to play the candle.
He's not shy at all.
Like I said, he's a modern-day social media. Does a great job. You get the photo up.
He knows how to play the game. Goes right to the HBO crew.
Good job, Ryan. Attaboy.
He's letting them know, hey, you're going to be calling my fights very soon.
There you go. Sell yourself, Ryan. Ain't mad at you at all, baby. Joe Martinez, the ring announcer, is ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes of the official time. 2 minutes, 20 seconds, round number 2. Referee Russell Mora steps in and puts a halt to this bout. Your winner by TKO, he is still undefeated, King Ryan Garcia.
The pride of Victorville. Ryan Garcia.
That was exciting.
He's now
Keep it going for King Ryan Garcia.
For the promising young Golden Boy prospect. Fighting in Las Vegas. Look good in front of the HBO people.
Se ha vuelto personal, ¿no? Ya desde hace años se ha venido viendo esta rivalidad entre Chavez y yo.
Te vas a dar cuenta qué clase de peleador soy. No soy más el hijo de Julio César Chávez, te vas a dar cuenta.
I don't know what it is. For some strange reason, when two Mexicans face each other, it's a guaranteed war.
The main event tonight, Canelo Alvarez, Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Against a guy he just doesn't like. He has no problem saying it. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. tonight on pay-per-view. Cinco de Mayo weekend. The crowd is filing in. It is already fired up, Doug. This one, these two don't like each other at all.
Absolutely, and Junior has a lot to prove in this fight. And generally speaking, when you have two top Mexicans fighting each other, where one has a lot to prove, as Marco Antonio Barrera did, going into the first and third fights with Eric Morales, we get classics. And I can name a dozen scenarios where there was a Mexican fighter being counted out against another Mexican fighter, and he raised his game to unprecedented levels. We saw it last year with Orlando Salido. People thought he was old, people thought he was done, people thought he was just a name opponent for Francisco Vargas, who was the WBC title holder at the time, and they went to war, and it was the fight of the year.
Main event tonight, Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez in Las Vegas. A long journey for this one, mano a mano.
The canvas on which two fighters meet is always level. Each corner is equally square. An apt example of the tendency this sport has to bridge generations and nations alike.
Something's happening here, and I have to go back to that Chavez fight. It's ironic how some odd years ago, those fans, those Mexican nationals who were against me, front forward 20 years, and now those people that were criticizing me have kids that are now born in the US. So now they're starting to realize, like, wow, you know what? We understand Oscar now.
It is said that legacy is the captive of fate. So, as fate dictates, current circumstances have aligned in such a way that with a single victory, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. stands poised to amend his fantasy legacy and erase all shortcomings. While Saul Alvarez can cement his legacy by winning his most elusive title yet,
Right now, he's in a good one.
the People's Champion.
Good left from Canelo.
His People's Champion.
The Canelo chant is getting loud every single time. Able to land that right hand to the right. Then Canelo answers with the left. A big shot landed by the Mexican fighter.
Dando el hijo de Guadalajara, Jalisco, el orgullo de México, Saúl Canelo Alvarez.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has his stance. Now he goes Martinez. Huge right hand by Canelo. Knocked down full.
On Saturday, May 6th, the world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
For young Julio, growing up in the household of Mexico's most celebrated champion was as much about tradition as it was about learning his place in the shadow of a giant.
Ha sido difícil para mí también porque, pues, ¿qué puedes hacer para ser mejor que él? Si gano 60 peleas, 50, 80, tengo que ganar 89 peleas para hacer lo que él hizo. Es una carrera muy difícil. No me pesa, creo, nomás a mí, sino a todos los mexicanos les pesa Julio Cesar Chavez, ser mejor que él.
The bearing of a champion has weighed heavy on both father and son. A shared burden is borne lightly, but the bond created is often unbreakable.
He escuchado que dice Canelo o algo así que ellos sufrieron mucho, pero dicen que sufrieron mucho porque no tenían dinero o por cosas así. Y ellos no saben la situación que yo viví con mi papá en sus adicciones, como yo lo cuidé desde que yo tenía 5 o 6 años, estando ahí con él, casi destapándole las cervezas cuidándolo todo el tiempo, aguantándolo. Somos totalmente diferentes, ¿me entiendes? Creo que él ha crecido viendo pelear a su padre. Trae mucho de lo mío. Desafortunadamente no lo ha podido desarrollar. Primeramente por su indisciplina, que fue lo de Julio, ¿no? Pero fui el único que estuve con él siempre. Y por eso es que tengo cierto parecido que la gente a veces confunde que yo imito. Pero no imito, simplemente que yo viví como con él así pegado, ¿me entiendes? Yo estaba con él todo el tiempo, horas con él, entonces pues se pega eso. O sea, yo creo que fui su primer hijo, me hizo con ganas, yo creo.
If motivation is what drives a person, inspiration is what changes them. For Julio and Team Chavez, the possibility of facing Canelo, once presented, served well as inspiration and sparked a new commitment for both father and son.
When I spoke with Julio and he realized that fighting Canelo was a real possibility, that moment everything changed. Everything changed for him.
When we sat down and discussed the fight, there was one big obstacle. Junior had a fight scheduled a month out. And first things first, we had to make sure that he could make weight.
And basically that fight, it could be described as an audition for this big fight. Not only did Julio make the weight at 168 pounds, but he wanted to make a point and came in under 168. He came in at 167.8.
I followed Chavez's career very closely. That's part of my job. And I've never seen him more focused than he is for this fight. This fight is for all of Mexico. The winner will be king of Mexico.
Doubling down on his commitment, Julio has agreed to train under the exacting standards of famed Mexican trainer, Ignacio Nacho Beristain.
Nacho is a no-nonsense trainer, and Nacho doesn't, he's a legend himself. He doesn't need anything, and doesn't need anybody.
Don Nacho te dice las cosas tal como son. Él no gusta que anden las cosas. Y entonces creo que Julio sabe de este reto. Inclusive Julio lo pidió. ¿Por qué? Porque él dijo, yo quiero a Don Nacho porque a Don Nacho sí le voy a hacer caso, pa.
Uno de los pequeños defectos del Canelo es que como que le tiembla tantito, como que duda un poco, y entonces vamos a buscar por ahí.
Entonces quiere decir que esta actitud de Julio me gusta. Me gusta porque él sabe del compromiso que tiene. Él sabe que Don Nacho Beristain no va a andar y lo va a hacer trabajar al máximo.
Included in this commitment is time spent training at the Otomi High Altitude Center in the mountains near Temuaya, Mexico. The monastic existence offers a preponderance of opportunities, both physically and mentally. At altitude, the thin air mirrors the tolerance Don Nacho has for anything but complete surrender. But the presence of the two most revered figures in Mexican boxing has brought a sense of surety to this camp.
Es un poco más difícil ser el hijo de una gran leyenda como es J.C. Chávez, padre. Es un compromiso terrible cargar el apellido Chávez, que un peleador que nació en Jalisco y que salió de la nada. Muy importante para el chico tratar de imitar lo hecho por el padre, que es un poco muy difícil porque el padre es más que una leyenda para un país como México.
For Julio Jr., there are no more choices to be made, and this surrender has, at last, brought him the focus he needs. The art and culture of the Otomi Ceremonial Center reminds the fighters who train there of their warrior's heritage.
Julio bien preparado, no nomás le va a ganar a Canelo, le puede ganar a cualquiera.
For Chavez Jr., the 365 stone steps are a telling reflection of his last year's progress and the heights he aspires to attain.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has his stance. Now he goes Martinez. You try to
Saturday, May 6th, the world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Don Chepo Reynoso has grown accustomed to gathering the fruits of his labor, both from his fighter and from another source of pride, his orange grove at Team Canelo's training camp near San Diego, California.
Ahora ya, afortunadamente, pues la ciencia ha avanzado mucho. Sí, los tiempos han cambiado mucho, pero ha sido para bien. Puedes ver hoy lo que le van a hacer y así es siempre. Pollo, pescado, que es su trabajo, hacer la comida. Sabe hacer la comida, puede hacer lo que le guste, en este caso a Saúl y a todo el equipo. Y no nos va a enfermar.
As fight week approaches, Team Canelo draws comfort from the familiar. A family style of living offers that comfort, even if pain is the grueling reality of a champion's preparation. Preparation has, in fact, become the hallmark of this champion and his trainers Eddie and Chepo Reynoso. As Team Canelo draws plans to face their biggest and heaviest opponent to date, small adaptations are absorbed into a well-proven system. As is typical in the sport of boxing, training camp is a proving grounds, and testing an injury is job number one for Team Canelo.
La última pelea sufrió una lesión en el escafoides, es un hueso que está en la muñeca de su mano derecha. Si tú observaste ahorita, los impactos que él conecta están al 100%. Entonces, la lesión quedó en el olvido y físicamente está recuperado al 100%.
El primer face-to-face en esta gira promocional.
Anticipation is often the companion of hope.
Chavez Jr., el primero aquí en la casa de...
A well-suited pairing as the world looks ahead to this May 6th showdown in Las Vegas.
Pero antes, el 29 de abril, el primer...
I think this has the ingredients to just be one of those types of fights that reminds us of how beautiful boxing is, or can be.
If we also look back to other well-suited pairings, the comparisons become obvious, as does the increased anticipation.
When I look at this fight, I see the ingredients for a classic three-fight series. I see the ingredients of a new version of Eric Morales versus Marco Antonio Barrera, an all-Mexican showdown and rivalry.
I don't know what it is. For some strange reason, when two Mexicans face each other, it's a guaranteed war.
No man enters the ring unburdened. He carries with him ghosts of the past and hopes for the future.
Yo creo que es mi momento, ¿sabes? Como creo que es mi momento, creo que ahorita tengo una segunda oportunidad y la moneda pues está volteada. Pero bueno, hay que demostrarlo arriba del ring.
In a culture where boxing is not so much a pastime as it is a source of national pride, the role of an athlete, of a Mexican boxer, is to inspire his people.
I mean, these kids have the potential to make it a historical fight, you know, one for the ages.
Esta es la pelea que queríamos. Esto es un sueño hecho realidad, ¿me entiendes? Esta es la pelea que Julio quería.
Esta pelea se hizo para todos los mexicanos y para toda la gente del boxeo. El boxeo mexicano necesita una pelea como esta y para ellos se hizo esta.
When the battle for Mexico ensues on May 6th, every aching word of encouragement will be heard in the ring, and the would-be champion will respond with his fists and his fury as the people roar. Show me that it is possible. Show me your achievement, and the knowledge will give me courage for mine. Be our champion. Don't miss Canelo versus Chavez Jr. on May 6th, live on pay-per-view.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Las Vegas, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Canelo, Chavez Jr. Some are calling it the Mexican Super Bowl. It is crazy. The vibe is fantastic. The atmosphere is electric. And the main event tonight is one that's expected to give some fireworks as two guys that don't like each other. One, born the son of a legend, everything handed to him according to Canelo Alvarez, who is the son of an ice cream salesman. His dad was a paletero. And then they're here in Las Vegas, Doug Fisher. This is going to be fantastic tonight.
The anticipation, the energy, the enthusiasm, it has grown day by day exponentially. Tuesday, we were here for the grand arrivals, and it was the kind of fan and media turnout that you normally don't see until about Thursday of the week of a big fight. This is bigger than a big fight. This is a major event. This is a happening, and it's really caught fire, and it's gone beyond Mexican boxing, and it's gone beyond hardcore fans and beyond the boxing world. It has the attention of the sports world, and that was so evident yesterday at the weigh-in, where you had so many simultaneous weigh-in shows, live weigh-in shows happening, so many different networks from around the world. It's a beautiful thing to see in boxing because we haven't had it in a while.
This isn't just a boxing match tonight. This is an event. This is gather everybody around. This is something that you hopefully will think is going to be something memorable, because Oscar De La Hoya, the founder of Golden Boy Promotions, he fought on Cinco de Mayo. He's fought to get his fighters on this weekend. And there's a lot on the line tonight between Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Yesterday at the weigh-in, he had agreed to Doug 164 and a half. Canelo coming up, Jr. coming way down.
Only 2 defeats, with 1 draw. The Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico.
Chavez Jr. really struggled to make 164 and a half. A lot of folks thought he wasn't going to make it, that he would even be willing to pay that $1 million penalty per pound.
$1 million per pound if he didn't make it.
I mean, even if he came in at 164.7 and wasn't able to shed that 0.2 pounds, he'd have to pay $1 million. And he showed the skeptics and the doubters. Made it with half a pound to spare.
Right on it. And you see, Chavez Sr. was to the side, just fist pumping over and over and over. As Chavez Jr. has a lot of fans in attendance here this weekend. We said it's an event. People made a vacation out of this. It used to be Fight Fest Show Friday night. No, they were here early in the week to get it. And Canelo Alvarez normally fights in the 55. Over 10,000 people there were dug. They lined up at 9 in the morning for a weigh-in.
Thousands, and it was a wild scene in there. I mean, the electricity was better than most fights. And look how great Alvarez looked. Look at his pecs. Look at his shoulders, his deltoids, his neck. He looks like a full-fledged middleweight. I think this fight has been very good for him because it's finally enticed him to leave that comfort zone of 155 pounds and weigh in the range of 160. And he looks awesome at 164. I wonder, though, if he didn't put on a little bit too much muscle. Maybe he should have come in at like 160, 161, but we'll find out tonight.
Pay-per-view, Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Been months in the making. There was a tour all over the United States. Tonight in Las Vegas, they get going. Canelo Chavez Jr. in Vegas, Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Comes harmony. Hennessy VSOP privilege. Never stop. Never settle.
I see stories in people's faces.